Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Chase. So this week we're going to cover Bitcoin and S&P 500, and we're going to answer the question. This one I got a lot this week, and I suppose this is how we're going to do it from now on. It's just whatever question I get asked the most throughout the week is probably what I'm going to do a little lesson on. And this week it was, so Chase, how do I know what time frame in relation to anything? It's the most frequently asked question recently, and I know last week it was the liquidity question, but I guess it's just as my account continues to grow and grow, people show up and they just ask these not stupid questions, but some of them are like very basic questions and stuff that I've gone over before. And I guess some people just don't put in the time to like watching old content and whatnot. And hey, I understand it. That's how trading in the markets are. People want things quick. That's nothing new. That's why you get bubbles and froth, etc., etc. So that was the most frequently asked question this week is, how do I know what time frame I need to be watching for a close or for acceptance or whatever you want to say? Okay, so we'll cover that. It'll be a little bit of a time-based trading thing. We'll recap the FOMC. And we'll go over some winning trades that I publicly called. Okay, so only ones that I publicly called, and I'll explain those because every time I do a public call, and really try to get people aboard, the questions are just through the roof, and the DMs start coming in. Are you confident in this? Da 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 da. Remember, you guys, there's no risk, there's no reward without risk. Okay, I don't want people DMing me and asking, do you think this is a good trade, or blah blah blah. Look, if I'm taking it, I'm taking it. It has nothing to do with what you want to do. If you want to follow, be my guest. If it wins, it wins. If it loses, it loses. It is what it is. My risk is managed. What you do is on you. But I do understand the technical questions when I post a trade, like public calls, and people say, well, why do you think this? Well, why do you think that? Well, what we're going to do is we'll recap some of those trades, and I can try to answer some of those things for you. Okay, so real quick, before we get into any recap or any lesson or anything, I figured I'd try to put some of the analysis up front, just for the people who want that. I don't think it's necessarily, I'm not sure if this is going to be how I do it from now on. It feels okay, but also, you're getting only a brief picture, right? Like if you want the full analysis, you probably got to stick around. But anyway, we know these levels, right? This was the daily level. We tapped daily liquidity, tapped it, tapped it, tapped it. We go all the way down, back to this demand level here, caused the move up, right? Pretty obvious. I did think that we were going to go lower. I won't lie. I thought we were going back towards just here, the origin basically of this up move. But stopped right here. Demand sent us up. We could see the impulse off this level, right? There are a lot of people ask that stuff too. Oh, well, why this level? Why that level? Guys, my levels are pretty simple. They either involve liquidity or they involve some type of impulse. Look at this strong impulse off this level. This is support. Look at these liquidity taps. Okay, this was an area where you could look for shorts off liquidity. It's not that complicated. People overcomplicate it because they dig down to the 5 minute and they're like, this, okay, high, lower high, this, okay, this fib, all these crazy things. And look, there's nothing wrong with that, right? I use market structure techniques. I use Fibonacci. You don't see it often, but I do use it. But above all, before I get into any of that, and go check the previous video, liquidity and daily time frame. Before I get into any of that, I simply study the daily chart. That's it. I start on the daily. Okay, you don't start on the hourly. You don't start on the 15 or the 5 minute. You first get your levels from the daily, and then we move down. Okay, so just to keep this very simple, there's two levels I'm watching here. This 23,450 level. This is a potential long. I don't have bids on it just yet. I would actually like to see this go higher first. I would like to see something like this. I would like to see us push above here, bait people in, right? People are like, oh, okay, it's going higher, we're going straight to 30K. And that is when I'll probably set bids for this level, the 23,450, and that's when I could see it going up to here, okay? But I want to see probably this liquidity ran first, and I want to see a little bit more like upside. Like I want people to think, oh, this is not coming back down. That's when I get more confident in this level, okay? That's when I get more confident in this level. But until then, I'm just sitting, right? If it does come down right away, I'll keep an eye on it, see if, maybe we have a market structure shift or something of that nature. I can't really draw it out because we're not on a lower time frame here, but you know what to look for. I have I think on the entry techniques video or the one before that, I talk about market structure and explain it. You could take a look at that one. All my recent videos, have been pretty educationally and lesson filled. You go through all those, you're going to learn a lot. Just from the reception that I've got from the people who follow. Okay, 1 second. All right, so idea one, that's it. Push higher, and then we start watching this level because we want to induce some FOMO. We want some people to set some stops, and once they set those stops, we push down. We make them stop out, and remember, if you're long, right? If you're long, okay, so you get long up here, and let's say we'll just go down to the hourly just to give you guys an example. But point being, oh man, I really need to get the other drawing tool. I always say it, but I'm gonna do it for the next one. I really am. So say it keeps pushing up, right? And all of a sudden everyone's like, oh yeah, this is going, this is going, this is going. All right, where am I gonna put my stop? Well, look at these equal lows here and this big void here. Okay, people are gonna put their stops right below here, and then you're gonna have, what are we gonna have, right? We're gonna have our daily level. Look, the daily level of confluence. And I bet you we even have we'll probably have like a fib confluence or something, right? Like let's say this pushes up more. Let's take a little fib on it. Let's say it goes up to here. Look what you're going to have. You're going to have like a 618 or a 705 confluence at that level, okay? If that's how it plays out, all right? This is a lot of ifs, right? But that's what plans are. You have to plan ahead. You have to be prepared for different scenarios. So I want to see it take off a little bit more, and then I'm more interested in this level. Now, if it doesn't take off a bit more, what am I looking at? Well, I still think that this level has some value to it, okay? If we move down to a 4-hour time frame, and we mark out these lows, oops. Look what happened here. Putting the low, didn't sweep the low. I had orders here. I was ready for this ride. I really was. I had orders all in here, all long orders, down to this level here, okay? We break this down to a 1 hour. Just low, equal low. I was like, okay, gotta run this, or I don't even think I was looking at this equal low yet. But now, point being is now we do have equal lows here, right? So I still think that this could be good. And so not only do you have the liquidity, right? Okay, so you have liquidity. You also have the daily level, right? So look here. Moved up before we broke down. Remember I told you how my levels come from impulses and liquidity, right? So look what we have here. Daily support. What happens through it? Big impulse down, okay? Big impulse up back through it. And if we go down to like a 4-hour time frame, and we shorted this, remember we had this short? We had daily level here, flips to resistance perfectly. That was a perfect short, okay? Now, look what happened. Look at this huge impulse through this resistance, right? So if we were to push down anywhere into this area, now I'm drawing the box a little bit low. You got to say, honestly, it could be anywhere in here. But if Bitcoin is bullish, right, you guys know what I say. If Bitcoin is bullish, typically you don't retrace to that degree. Typically you're going to have a bullish, very bullish, people are going to want to get in, right? And they're going to say, okay, we can even, we could fib this too just to take a look. Let's pretend this is the top. If this is the local top right here, we do have some confluence below the equilibrium, right around the 618. In my opinion, this would be a good area right in here to watch for. Let me break it down to the 30, 15. So maybe even stab at like this stop right here, right? and then that would put you perfectly right in there, like 22,368. So you watch like right around 22,368. You have fib confluence, you have daily level confluence, you have liquidity confluence, you have a lot of confluence there, okay? And that's what I look for in trades, right? I said this on Twitter. Let's see. Go to my profile. I wrote this. Where was it? Okay, here it is. It's not always support and resistance. It's not always liquidity. It's not always fib retracement. It's a matter of combining techniques and working from the top down, higher time frame to lower time frame. And even with all that said, the chart will not always present opportunity. Pick your spots. Okay, so it's exactly that, right, guys? If it doesn't fill, it doesn't fill. But I want a place that has a lot of confluence and has good context to it, right? And you know it does because we're working from the top down, the context. We are saying, okay, this is higher time frame bullish, not only from a technical standpoint, but also a bit from a fundamental standpoint. If we move back in the just previous tweet I had, all important earnings are in, right? We did Amazon, we did Apple, we did Microsoft. Those are some of the highest weighted assets in the S&P. Sorry about the dog. The GDP is in. We don't have FOMC for 55 days. It's almost like a weight is lifted off the shoulders, I would say, of the market. And you guys know me. I'm not the one to say, oh yeah, we're immediately going to 30K. I mean, I've trolled some people, not no one in specific. I usually don't fire any shots. It's not necessary, but people who talk a little crazy, I was trolling them a little bit at 24K and whatnot, and as we went down. But hey, look, that's still a 4,000 point move down, right? Or 3,500 point move down. So look, I don't feel bad about saying, oh, we're not going to 30K when we were at 24K, because we weren't. We went back down to the origin of the impulse here, all the way back down to 20K. You literally lost all of your gains unless you were in from down here. So, I feel fine about that. And now looking at this again, seeing the daily close up here, seeing potential spots that would be good support levels and possible long opportunities, seeing the fundamental aspect of everything, I do think that we could be moving up around towards 28,420. Why that level in specific? Let's just take a look at it. We're here on the daily time frame. We come down wick, 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 and then tell me what happens here. What's different about these two candles rather than all these candles? This is expansion, okay? These are impulse candles. Impulse, okay? Impulse. I want you to get that through your head. So many of you guys, like I said, asking me about the levels. Oh, why this level? Why this level? I look for impulse. I look for liquidity, okay? And sometimes I look for support levels that are born off of impulse moves, or resistance levels that are born off of impulse moves, okay? Wasn't there like an easy short on ETH or something that was from an impulse? Where was it? It was here. It was liquidity. And it was this impulse. Check this out. Just box this out real quick. So this was an impulse move down, right? Impulse move down. I'm not even going to go on higher time frames or anything. It's easy to see. This is an impulse move down. Above this high is what? Liquidity. It taps into it. That's an easy short. Okay? What does it do? Basically fills this imbalance in here. Boom, right there. Liquidity void, whatever you want to say. Fills this in, taps it, goes back up. We're not really covering ETH at the moment, but anyway. All right, moving forward. Covered Bitcoin, like I said. Eyes on here if we continue to push up. Eyes on here if we go down from here. We will watch those levels and then ultimately target up here. Again, guys, even if you don't catch the entire move, having bias is helpful, right? Because it may just be a simple uptrend up until 28,420, right? I don't need this fill in order to catch, say from here to here, right? Maybe I only catch half. That's okay. But just because if I don't get this fill, or if I see this and I say, I don't like it, and then it reclaims, then it goes, okay, well, hey, look, I'm bullish again, and it goes up, and you get a little retracement. I can't think of some situation on the spot, but get some type of retracement, and you reclaim, boom, you retest, and you go, and okay, I catch it from here to here. Okay, so it's not the end of the world. Don't always feel like you need to just gamble into a position or FOMO into a position, right? This is a good daily close. We like this daily close, but it doesn't mean that I just buy here, because where's my stop? Where's my stop if I buy here? If I buy here, my stop is literally all the way down here, like 21.7-ish or something, and I'm targeting this. Okay, it's a 2.2 risk reward, but I mean, this is a 2.2 risk reward, and it's a long shot in my opinion, right? Even though my bias leans towards this, I mean, this is a big move, and I don't need to put 2.2 risk reward is not enough for me to sit out of the market and wait for price to move from 23.5K or 23.8K or whatever to 28K. I could find 20 moves in here on the way up. I could find 20 different moves, all that have maybe 2 to 3 risk reward. So it's just not the type of trader I am. I'm not going to sit here and play this level for 2 risk reward up to here. It's not what I'm going to do. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't do that. Okay, simple as that. Let's move on. Move over to ES. We're going to do ES pretty quick. I want to get into some of the educational content. ES. Before we get into more, just as usual, these videos are sponsored by Prime XBT. Guys, the liquidity and daily time frame video, it has like 4,500 views, and I don't think I got one sign up or one registration. I understand, I get it, probably, you're like, oh, why do I got to do this? You don't have to do it. It's just, if they don't keep me hired, I'm not going to do these videos as frequently. It's 100% your choice. I don't need to make the videos. It's no big deal. Obviously, I'm not going to lie to you. Having just steady income never hurts. So I do want to keep it going. But, if you can't take 15 minutes out of your day to, sign up and deposit under my link, take a couple trades, make 2R, make 3R, and then withdraw, whatever you want to do. I don't care. If you can't do that, then I don't know, how I can constantly keep these coming every single week. Simple as that. If there's 5,000 views, I would expect at least a couple signups. All right. Not trying to sound like a leech or anything like that. It's just, it is what it is. All right. That's what I'm hired for, is to try to bring them, signups and registrations, deposits. Got to do it. Okay. ES. It always feels weird, but it is the truth. Better than lying to you, right? Better than the people who come on and say, oh yeah, this is the very best exchange in the game. You should be trading here because X, Y, and Z, and all these reasons. And at least I'm truthful with you guys. All right, so show me some love and show them some love, and that'll keep all these coming. Simple as that. All right, ES. We have a high time frame market structure break here, but let's not forget that we've had high time frame market structure breaks before, right? Low, high, low. Okay, higher high, we break market structure here, right? We break market structure here, and it's just a fake out, and we go back down. Okay, so let's not forget that it is possible that this could push above here, and this pushes above here, and it goes back down. It's always possible, but that's not my bias at the moment. My bias at the moment looks a little bit like this. I think that, like BTC, we could get a pullback, right? If we were to get a pullback, this would align with the BTC pullback. What level do I have marked here in blue? This is the previous daily resistance. It'd be a good tap, okay? If we move down to a 4-hour, we could probably fib this, and I bet you it aligns something 618705. There it is, perfect, okay? So this is, now we already have 2 levels of confluence, okay? 2 levels of confluence immediately, right off the bat. We have daily level, and then we go down to the 4-hour, and we have a nice fib, a nice 618705 retracement. 2 points of confluence already, okay? So we have daily here. So now if we get a retracement into here, this is probably a potential buy opportunity. Do keep in mind, ES, we know it loves liquidity. And if you're looking to trade ES, you can trade it on Prime XBT under the ticker SP500. You can also trade Bitcoin and crypto, etc. So if it comes down into here, that would be a pretty decent retracement. And then with that would correlate with Bitcoin doing a potential retracement either down into here. Maybe they both go up a bit more and then we get that Bitcoin retracement, like I said, right to here. Or if it just simply retraces or Bitcoin shows weakness on its own and then ES comes in with some more weakness, then maybe that's when we could see this level and these stops ran. Okay, so but short term, I think ES comes down, it may tag this. We're probably going to work within this range at some point, right? We sort of have a little range in here. We work in there. And then we have obvious liquidity for target up here. Okay, it's just, I mean, guys, liquidity in the daily time frame video. Okay, go back and watch it. If you don't understand why this is liquidity, immediately go back and watch liquidity in daily time frame. Okay, but this level right here, look at all these highs. Highs here, high, high. None of this was ever tapped. Imagine the amount of stop losses that are up here. Just imagine. So in a similar situation like this, though, you might not just immediately take stops and dump. What I would expect happens here is you probably get some accumulation in here, right? I would guess. Okay, this is far out, so I don't like playing that far out. You guys know me. I typically try to keep my analysis fairly local to what current price action is doing, but regardless. If we do push up above here, this is liquidity. All the shorts who have stop losses above here, their shorts stops will get triggered. What happens when the stops of shorts get triggered? Well, they have to buy. When they have to buy, they fill the asks of the whales, right? Or they fill the asks of quote unquote smart money, the people who are up here. So if I'm selling up here, if I put my asks up here, and people's stops get hit, well, they have to buy. And when they buy, I get my asks filled, and then price comes back down off of the rejection. Okay? So you got to remember, big players need big areas of interest to interact, okay, and to transact with the market. So when it goes up here, and all, quote unquote dumb money, whatever you want to say, the dumb money's buying here. Oh, it's a breakout. It's a breakout. It's a breakout. It's breaking out. But that whole time, some big whale getting his ask filled. His ass gets filled. Ask gets filled. It sounds like ass gets filled. Ask, A-S-K. A-S-K gets filled, okay? They keep getting filled. They keep getting filled. And, yeah, that's fucked. You keep getting filled, and eventually that's how you get that breakdown, okay? So I do think this liquidity is a decent target. We have a weekly resistance up here. Might not get necessarily to the weekly, but eventually we get above here, we do something in here, probably come back down. That is my short-term thoughts. So Bitcoin and ES, they both align pretty decently. I think the thoughts are make sense together. And we'll leave the analysis at that for now, and we'll move into the time-based trading lesson. Okay, what time frames do closes need to happen above, that type of stuff. We'll recap some trades this week that I made public calls on, and we'll cover them. And I get a lot of questions on those, like I told you guys, so we'll recap them and I'll explain to you guys my reasonings. All right, so let's get into that. All right, now on to the education portion. I had to get some food in me real quick. Okay, so let's cover this one first. We sort of already talked about this one, but this was BTC and what I had thought out, right? Let's just view this here real quick. And what we're going to see is some lows here, right? Potential liquidity grab there, push up into a daily level, and then take profit at a daily level, okay? Let's go to the chart. Excuse me. Let's go back to where we were here. Okay, so we were like right around here. Use the replay tool. So we go to the daily. I'm going to mark out some levels. Unfortunately, when you use the replay tool, the daily just prints. But anyway, so you have your level here. You have your daily support here. We'd already talked about these at the beginning of the stream, right? So daily support, boom, big impulse down through. So now this level is resistance, right? And then you have your demand level here, this big move up, okay? We go back down to the hourly. So remember, this is our daily resistance right here, right? Now we have some more confluence building, right? What do we have here? Whoops. All right. There we go. Trying to get used to the control thing, as you guys always tell me to do. So we have liquidity down here, right? So we're this right here, remember how I told you guys in recent videos when you're getting a ton of wicking like this, that typically it's absorption, right? So this was absorption and this was baiting. And what it did, well, look at my drawing. Da-da-da, boom, straight to 22.254, and then down to 21.2. And what does this do? 22.254, and goes right down to the daily demand. Okay, so that's it. You have a daily level here, right? I just want trying to break these down for you, right? We have a daily level here, we have a daily level here, we have liquidity being tapped here, retest the daily resistance, and down to the daily support. Okay, simple trade, right? That's all I'm trying to do here. We're going to go through these quick, is just try to show you guys what makes up these winning trades. And these are publicly called, guys. This is not hindsight. This is live on Twitter, published. I drew this out. This is not me using replay tool or anything. This is live. If we take this tweet, can we take this tweet? Let's take this tweet. Let's see where this tweet was. Look at where this tweet was. This was live. Okay? No replay tool, no nothing. This is where the tweet was. It goes up, it hits 22.254, and it dumps down to the daily support level. Okay? Simple as that. And all we're trying to do, right? And then you look at this and you're like, oh well, you caught this, but why didn't you catch this back up? Guys, it's the name of the game. You're not going to catch every single move. Some things catch my eye, some things don't. And it's going to be the same way for everyone. I'm going to catch moves that other people aren't going to catch. They're going to catch moves that I'm not going to catch. Everyone's systems are different. Everyone's, little tricks and tips are different. And I just do what works for me, okay? Been doing this 6 years now. And, I've survived full time for, 5 years or so. No other work, no nothing. So this is the stuff that works for me, and I'm showing it to you guys. All right, so let's close this one up now. And let's go to the next one. All right, so I said I expect 23.1xx. Let's see where I said that. It's Bitcoin. Let's clear the chart again. Okay, so at 22.3, I said I expected 23.1. I wonder why. Let's try to figure it out. And I'm figuring this stuff out live with you guys right here. It's nothing ahead of time, none of that. I'm putting these out here, and I want to try to explain to you guys why and what I thought. Okay, so at that point, I gotta paste that back in. So we had our daily level here, right? Impulse down, this daily level that I've been using over and over and over again, right? Are we closed above at this point? Yes, we're closed above. Okay. So now we can before we do that, we can get into that little bit of educational point, all right? Guys, it's not always about what time frame does it close on, okay? That's a misconception. Just because the chart shows a 4 hour, or just because the chart shows a daily, doesn't mean that you need a daily close or you need a 4 hour close. Or this is what acceptance looks like. A huge rip through the level, okay? So all I needed to know that this was going to 23.1. Why did I pick 23.1? Well, what do we got here? We got two obvious equal highs right here, right? At 23K flat, pretty much, 22.987. We know what's going to happen. It's a round number. What's above round numbers? Above round numbers are stops. What's above these highs? Stops. We know exactly what's going to happen. And there it is, 23.105. Perfect, 23.1xx, as I called it. Okay, so why? Why did it get there? Well, just look at this. You don't need to say, oh, what close? What time frame close? You guys are so tied up on the time frame that you're not thinking about what the market is showing you. What the market is showing you is a huge impulse candle through this level. This is a daily level. So if this is a daily level and we plow through it, I mean, look, we plowed through it on the 15. We probably plowed through it on the 5 too. Look. Look at how we impulsed through it. That's all you got to see. I'm not telling you to FOMO in right here, But at that point, I know that this level right here, if tested, is going to flip to support. I know that. I know that. Because look at this. Resistance, big impulse move down. This is also the daily level. Okay, impulse, daily level. We rip through it. Rip through it on impulse. If it retaps it, it's gonna flip to support. And I called that too. If you look through my feed, I'm not gonna go through my feed, but if you look through my feed, I said if we retest this, I said it live when we got into around here. I said if we retest 22,254, that's a long, up to 23,1XX. I said something of that nature. I remember doing a tweet on it. Okay, so maybe that's anticlimactic, but it's not about the candle close. It's about the strength of the move and the impulse of the move. That is really what matters much more. So maybe that's not what you wanted, but there's your answer. It's about the impulse through it. It's not about what time frame it is. And don't get me wrong, you want to be careful, right? If you get just a 1 minute wick, right? If you just get a big 1 minute wick, you want to be a little cautious. It could retrace back down immediately, right? But when you're seeing daily levels being taken out on 15 minutes, on 30 minutes, on 1 hour, with this type of a move, look at this candle. It's about the impulse, not the time frame. Look at this 30-minute candle that rips through this daily level. Look at this 15-minute that rips through this daily level. Look at this even 5-minute candle that rips through this daily level. It's the biggest candle of this whole move up. This one, the one that rips through the daily resistance. Okay, can only explain it so many ways. I think that should drill it into your brain. Okay, excuse me. Let's move on to another one. This was 23XX. We got that. 23.1XX. Okay. Looks like it wants 1700. F. Let's see where I talked about this one. Okay. At what price? At 1588. I said F wants 1700. Okay, let's see why. Let's see why. What I'm guessing is that I used this as the support level, just like I used this as a support level on Bitcoin, right? Just as I used it as a support level on Bitcoin. Okay, impulse down, impulse back up. Let's see where the tweet was. Boom. There it is. It's a reclaim of the daily level. Look at this. Resistance, impulse down, rips through on big candles, big impulses. Look at this impulse. If this comes back down, right? And they're lucky it didn't come back down, because I would have got some serious fills. I would have made some good cash, but hey, it happens. And that's what I'm saying. You're not always going to get a fill, right? But all I can do is play for my risk reward. I can't say, okay, I'm buying here. I can't say I'm buying here and putting my stop down here. I can't do that, because even if I'm targeting 1700, okay, so I get in, I'm targeting 1700. If my stop is down here, that's a 1.3 risk reward. I don't trade like that, okay? But if I get an entry around here, well, now we got 3 risk reward. Now we're talking, okay? So that's it. I saw this big impulse candle through the daily level. Big impulse through the daily level. The time frame does not matter. Big impulse through the daily level. The time frame does not matter. The candle close time frame does not matter. Simple as that. All right, and for the last one, I'm going to show you a little something from ES today. I didn't call this one live, but this is going to show you, and we're going to move back to the entry techniques video. Okay, if you haven't seen the entry techniques video, that is where the technique that you're going to see right here comes from. Okay, so you go back and watch that video. Okay, so we're towards the end of the close today, right? All these gray boxes, these are the daily sessions. Okay, and we're getting actually a lot of after hours movement this week, strictly because of earnings, right? That isn't typical. But anyway, so I mean, just to start the day, right? And I mean, I can't believe I'm sleeping during this. These are the easiest trades, I swear. Again, you could trade this on SP 500. Just look at this. Lows, low, low, sweeps everything, right? Obviously, you would mark out the most recent low. It sweeps everything. Sweep, 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 sweep. Get impulse candle here, impulse candle here. Basically, at that point, you can say that, you know, anything down here was obvious absorption, and it was pretty apparent that we were going higher just from the daily view, right? Like, I think it was pretty obvious we were going higher. We were above the daily level. We were above the daily level. If you break down to the 4 hour, you could see that we ran this liquidity here. This was just an obvious, this was going to be an obviously bullish day. And when you break down and you look at this open here, and you just say, wow, look at this liquidity. Taps, taps, taps on this impulse. Anywhere within that impulse candle you could have got in, especially when it reclaims. Just simple, really. Maybe you get stopped out once, right? If you're inexperienced and you don't know what to look for, and you say, oh, okay, it's back above. All right, you get stopped out once. And then what happens? It closes above again on impulse, right? Because it didn't even really close on impulse here, right? You don't really see like an impulse. Here it closes on impulse. So even if you got stopped out here, whatever. So you get stopped out for, you put your stop below the low, you get stopped out for 16 points. And then you get in here, right? You get in here, or you get in here, doesn't even matter. You let the whole impulse play out, and then you get to ride just this insane move throughout the day. And where would your, 87 points, where would your target have been? Pretty simple. We just go over to the daily, and we would say, oh, okay, well, probably here, right? Resistance, impulse through, support on daily, support on daily, support on daily, impulse down through, and you get to catch that monstrous move. All right, but nonetheless, I show you guys the move that I took at the end of the day, and show you why I got stopped out first, and then I caught it on the second one, and then we'll wrap this up. So into the close, right? Go back to the daily real quick. Into the close, I was looking at this and I'm saying, we're approaching resistance here, right? Like, we're approaching resistance here. In my opinion, pretty obvious that we should get some type of a pullback here. So I was looking for a pullback. So as price is moving up, I'm like, okay, I'm thinking, well, maybe it won't get all the way to the daily level. Maybe we're just going to break down before the daily level, because sometimes that happens. All right. So I was on the 1 minute doing some scalping at the end of the day, and I was using my entry videos, or entry techniques video, the technique from there, trying to find where it was, because these things do get a little, this was definitely it, because I remember the pain. It's not pain, but the annoyance. I remember this. Okay, so we had we're looking for a market structure break, and then we're looking for an impulse down, right? So we had a high, we had a low, we had a high, we had a low. Okay, let's mark out that low, and then we break market structure here, and we have an impulse down here, right? And then we have the support before, or basically the support within the impulse move, right? So even if we move this to like a 2, it might be more apparent. Okay, so see this support level right here? Support before we break down, okay? And that's what I taught you guys in entry techniques. Support before we break down. So I had set this, I front run it a little bit as usual. I always front run it a tiny bit, like one or two ticks essentially. Put my stop above the top, and I was targeting these equal lows right here. Yeah, because you had a little bit of a bottom put in here, and you had low and low. I was like, okay, well, we'll come back down here and we'll grab these, and that'll be a 2 risk reward trade. Just a quick scalp, right? Quick scalp, no big deal. Got stopped out on this, right? You could see that. So price comes up, and now we're into a little bit more advanced techniques and whatnot, right? If you're not following this, it's not the end of the world. You can go over the entry techniques video and whatnot, and you can use all the other strategies that we just talked about. Just daily time frame, impulse moves. This is where it gets a little bit more complicated, but some people like this stuff. Okay, so you could see the strategy though, right? We had a break in market structure, and then we had the support before the breakdown on impulse. I tried to short the retest, stop above the high, get stopped out. Okay. Then I'm like, okay, well, I'll give it one more try. So we had liquidity, right? And this was something we didn't necessarily have on this first run. We didn't really have liquidity, which is a pretty integral part of it. Okay, so now we have liquidity as well, which is good, right? And we have an even stronger impulse down. Look at that impulse down versus this impulse down. I thought this impulse down was strong enough. I really did. I was like, okay, this should be a good trade. But anyway, I got stopped out on that -1R. And then we go over to this one. Okay, so it's the same situation, right? Look at this. We have a low, we have a high, we have a low, and then what happens? So this low, look, we break market structure here, break a market structure, break a market structure. So at that point, what am I looking for? Once the market structure is broken, I'm looking for the support before the impulse move down. We know where that is. That's right here, okay? And like I said, I typically front run it by like 1 or 2 ticks, which is what I did. Short here. Stop above the high. Where was my target? I told you guys, these equal lows. And there it is. See that little wick that gets through there? Boom. For about 3.17 risk reward. So that scalping session, I had -1R, and then I had like 3.2R. It ended up being like a plus 2.2R scalp session. Okay, nice and quick, just end of the day from like 3 to 4 p.m. And that was it. Okay. And then obviously this is Apple and like other crazy stuff that was happening today. Apple and Amazon and whatnot. So that is this week's video, I believe. We covered Bitcoin analysis. We did ES analysis. I showed you guys a bunch of different trades from this week that were all publicly called. Only that last one was one I just did on my own, right? And yeah, I hope all this was helpful to you. And, support me by, like I said, signing up, deposit, take a couple trades on Prime XBT. And I'll keep these videos coming for you. All right. Until next week. I'm out of here. See you later, guys. Have a good week.